I took one of Pioneer Woman's most popular recipes and made it low carb. Today we're making a protein-packed low carb version of her well-loved baked ziti recipe. I know your family's gonna love this one just as much as mine did. Starting with some aromatics for the ziti sauce, heat about a tablespoon of olive oil into a large skillet over medium heat. Then add diced onion from about a quarter of a medium onion and 3 cloves of minced garlic. Saute that for a few minutes or until the onions are softened. Then add about a pound of ground beef and a pound of ground sausage. You can use all ground beef or all ground sausage. You could even use ground turkey or chicken. I'm using both ground beef and ground sausage because that's what Pioneer Woman does, and it really does add the best flavor. Once it's browned and you've drained off some of that fat, stir in a can of diced tomatoes with the juices, and a jar of your favorite low-carb marinara sauce. Look for one that's the lowest in sugar. I'll have one of my favorites listed down below in the description box. Then for seasonings, you'll need to add 3/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and my secret ingredient for the best red sauce ever is a 1/4 teaspoon of anise seed. I think it's called anise. It could be anise. I don't know. Along with 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Bring this to a simmer because we want all of those flavors to meld together, and we're gonna reduce the heat and let it simmer for around 20 to 25 minutes. The longer it simmers, the better the sauce is gonna taste, but I don't have all day, so 20 to 25 minutes is my perfect spot. Next, we're gonna do a Pioneer Woman trick for why I think this recipe is the most popular and one of the best baked ziti recipes out there. She reserves some of this sauce to mix into the noodles later. So pull out around 2.5 cups of this meaty sauce and then set it aside to cool. I'm not Italian, nor do I play one on TV, but I do know that some of the best tasting Italian recipes take the longest to prepare, especially if you aren't using shortcut ingredients and you're making everything on your own from the sauce to the noodles. This is not one of those recipes. I generally don't like to make recipes that take a lot of effort or time, but if you choose to go that route, I highly suggest that you are properly hydrated before you do so, specifically with Element Electrolytes, who is my sponsor for today's video. Their science-backed electrolyte formula of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium will help keep your cells happily hydrated. It'll help you prevent symptoms of dehydration that you get from extended cooking efforts like fatigue and headache and body aches. On a low-carb diet, you're even more prone to electrolyte loss because you don't have an insulin response to help reabsorb some of those electrolytes. Your electrolytes don't get recycled, so they go to pot. And I'm not talking about a pot of spaghetti either. They have a wide range of flavors like raspberry, orange, citrus, watermelon, and grapefruit to help please even the pickiest of palates. Right now, Element's offering a free sample pack with any order, so you can try 8 of their flavors free with any Element order. Just go to drinkelement.com/KetoFocus to get yours. This is a really great way to find that perfect flavor that it's gonna help you keep your cooking stamina. For my keto noodles, I am not making them from scratch. Despite the fact that I'm well hydrated right now, I have zero desire to ever make keto noodles from scratch when there's so many brands out there that make packaged keto noodles that are just as good and so much easier. Like this brand, who makes a protein-packed ziti pasta that cooks up just like regular pasta. It's made from lupin beans instead of wheat, so it means that it's gluten-free too. The main difference between this pasta and regular pasta is that it cooks quickly, and we do want our pasta in this recipe to be al dente, so only boil it for around 2 minutes. Any longer and your ziti pasta will break up and get mushy, and instead of making baked ziti, you're making baked mush, which doesn't have the same appeal. Once your pasta is cooked, drain it and run it over cooled water, and then set it aside and we'll work on the cheesy portion of this dish. In a large bowl, mix together 1.5 cups of shredded mozzarella cheese, 1 cup of cottage cheese, and if you can find this brand, grab this because it has the lowest amount of carbs in cottage cheese that I've seen. Then a 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese and 2 eggs. All of that cheese is going to help glue our noodles together when it bakes. Then remember that reserved sauce that we set aside? Time for it to shine. Add that to your cheese mixture and then pour in the cooked noodles and stir everything together until it's combined. Now we assemble. Using a 9x13 or an 8x10, basically you just want a really large casserole dish. Spread about half of the pasta mixture into an even layer. Remember, we still have all of that extra meaty red sauce, so then pour about half of that on top of your pasta layer. Then spread the remaining pasta mixture on top of that layer of sauce. and then followed by the remaining red meaty sauce. Spread that evenly. Then, because cheese is always a welcome guest at my dinner table, we're gonna add half of a cup of shredded mozzarella cheese on top. This will go into the oven to bake at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for around 20 minutes or until the cheese is melted and bubbly on top. Remove it from the oven and let it sit for 5 minutes before scooping. This will just allow some of the cheeses in the noodles to re-solidify so that it's easier to scoop out. And dinner's ready. Actually, dinner's ready for the next few meals because this makes a lot. So it's a great meal prep option. And if you need some more meal prep options that are low carb, then just click right here because I got you covered.